£23 million over 4 years. We were all waiting, suspended between knowing change was coming and not knowing what it would be or how it would affect us. No man's land. It's very fertile, no man's land. You name it, it grows there. Anxiety thrives, doubt flourishes, introspection and irritation also do well. Some people try and cultivate optimism, but it's a challenge. When I picture work at that time, I remember how tetchy we all were. It ran right down to where we all felt not just uncertain, but privately scared. The River Mersey's got some nice bits. Wildflowers, ducks, but the M60 has a habit of crossing over the River Mersey and reminding you where you are.
Right. Watch your feet.
The body had been pulled out of the water an hour earlier. The victim was a white, middle-aged male. His clothing was ripped to shreds. He'd been mauled. The division wanted to know, did I consider this man's death suspicious? Was it a case for them, or a case for us? I thought it was suspicious and I wanted it, but I had to run it past my boss, Detective Superintendent Price. Price's office was stuffy. His pot plants had died. I glimpsed his computer screen over his shoulder. His inbox was a solid block of unread emails. Like I said, work was tetchy. He's covered in dog bites.
Right.
He's been killed by a dog or dogs.
He could have drowned.
There's an hole in his throat.
Right.
There's footprints in the victim's blood right at the water's edge.
Right.
So someone was right there.
Mm-hmm.
And if that person is the owner of the dog, and if that person intended to kill that man, planned it and used the dog to do it, then that dog is a murder weapon and that death is murder.
Well, how the hell do you intend to prove that?
Well, get the dog DNA off the victim for a start.
From what?
Saliva.
The victim's been in the river. Saliva's soluble.
Ondontics then. Get an ID on the dog from the bite marks.
Can that be done?
Yeah.
Costing?
Well, that will depend on what...
Not bad. You're proposing something fanciful, tenuous, piddling and expensive. The division is trying it on. Tell them to spend their own budget. I want nothing to do with it.
Can I just tell you a bit more about it?
No. Now listen.
He glanced warily at his computer screen.
They're saying we need to cut budgets.
We're already doing more than ever. We're less than ever. The CCTV unit's been cut in half. They've taken 10 members of staff out of the MIT to support divisional work.
And may need to take more.
Management consultants should not be telling us what to do.
How would you implement a 25% budget cut? You were in charge. Smaller notebooks?
So, I rang the division and I told them I would be pursuing it for now with whatever time I could afford to give it. But it was rebellion. I wanted to stick it to Price. I will not be told the case is piddling. I won't be shafted by accountants without putting up a fight. Also, it's a habit of mine. When there's things I've got to do but don't want to, I have a tendency to get willfully enthralled with something unsuitable. I nearly missed my dad's funeral because I was painting a bench. I got Terry Bird and Watende Robinson in my office and showed them the photos from the crime scene. This is where I think the dog attack happened, under the motorway bridge. It was in such a mess it's hard to know what state it was in before he was attacked by the dog or dogs. Once we get an ID on him, it might be clearer why someone might have wanted him dead. Terry stood with his arms folded. Just say no. Watende wasn't even with us. I mean, he was standing in the room, but he was miles away.
Why are you ruining that accidental?
The trainer prints in the blood, Terry, on the riverbank. Look at this one. Someone stepped on a plastic bag in the grass and left a perfect print as he's walked away. Let's see if we can get that trainer model pinned down, yeah? Watende?
Sorry. Yes, boss.
This trainer was either on the foot of the guy whose dog killed the victim or someone's found a dead body, had a look at him floating in the river and not reported it.
That's perfectly plausible. It's a rough area. If you've got an illegal dog, a dangerous dog, and it kills a guy accidentally, you get the hell out.
A dog attack is noisy. This spot, out of sight, no CCTV, drowned out by motorway traffic, is the perfect spot to get a dog to kill someone. Perfect. Watende, you're miles away. What's up?
He's pregnant.
My wife is.
I know she is.
Honestly, you go home and nibble ginger nuts and let's have your wife in here. She'll be more use than you.
Terry. Mr. Obstructive and Mr. Distracted. If they set out to prove they were dispensable, they could not have done it better.
I was thinking about Chloe Blakiston.
Good. Chloe Blakiston's one of the reasons I want to pursue this.
Do you know how long he got, the uncle? 8 weeks for owning the dog, and that kid's dead.
Dragged from her cot.
And for 5 minutes, everyone was obsessed with the dog problem, and now it's forgotten. So for exactly that reason, let's take this seriously. Let's see if this is a murder and push for it if it is. Push for serious sentencing that might start to change people's behaviour. Sorry, but why are you shaking your head?
You're talking about a pretty smart and organised person here, intentionally killing this guy in the perfect spot and what have you. Don't work for me.
Why?
The guys who own these dogs are ignorant torags, which is why you're never going to change their behaviour. They don't know the first thing about dogs. They're not training their dogs properly. I've owned dogs all my life, and I've never had a problem because I know what I'm doing.
Do you know about dog DNA, bite marks?
No.
Find out then, please. I've left it with the boss, who doesn't know we're running with this, by the way, so keep stum. Watende, take a look at this area, will you? Go and have a snoop at the dog culture, basically. You know, get a feel for the place.
Okay.
20 minutes later, Watende collared me.
Can I have a word?
Of course. Watende Robinson is a devout believer in eye contact. Everything he says is sent recorded delivery, looking right at you, and you have to sign for it by looking right back at him, so he knows you got the message. And here he was, standing in the car park, looking everywhere, but at me.
I've got a problem.
Let's have it. You seem very subdued.
Just waiting for this baby. I expected it to be on my mind, but not this much.
How's he doing?
Hot, bursting, dying to have it. 3 weeks to go.
It'll be great.
That's not the problem. The problem is this case.
Why?
I don't like dogs.
You don't like 'em, or you run screaming if you see one?
I try not to scream, but I am scared of dogs.
Okay.
I was attacked by a dog when I was 8. It's a big thing for me.
Well, I'll make sure Terry works the doggy front line, and I'll give you all the annoying fiddly stuff back here.
Okay, thanks, but please don't...
What, tell Terry you're scared of dogs? Please credit me with some style, and discretion, and leadership.
Okay.
Later on, Terry and I had a drive around the area near the crime scene. Plenty of footpaths cut from the river to a network of cul-de-sacs running off one road, Forest Way. Every cul-de-sac branching off it's named after a kind of tree: ash grove, oak grove, cherry grove. The houses were small and boxy, peeling paint, satellite dishes sprouting from every wall, England flags flapping. Each house had a wall yard, and most of the yards contained a dog.
Why isn't Tenny doing this like you asked him? Is he scared of dogs?
He stayed behind because I want him to push for a splash in the evening news. See if we can flush out any other dog stories.
Well, something's up. Flaky as an Eccles cake these days, that one. I'll be glad when he's given birth.
We pulled up near a little park with a playground in it and watched the comings and goings. Quite a few lads with dogs. Is that a pit bull?
There's no such thing as a pit bull.
What?
Pit bull's a type, it's not a breed. That's why, well, it's one of the reasons why the Dangerous Dog Act's so rubbish. It's wide open to interpretation.
What's that dog then?
It's a Staffordshire Bull Terrier. My puppy's a Staffy.
Is that a pit bull type?
Yeah. Legal, though.
Dangerous?
No. They used to be called the nanny dog because they were so good with children. Terrible reputation now, because of stupid owners. It's dangerous dog owners like we need.
Where's the nearest vets?
These lot don't take the dogs to the vet. They don't even neuter them because they want them to be aggressive. It's all part of the status thing.
The swings were made of thick black rubber. Durable, you'd say. Except they were half destroyed. Eaten away.
They'll chew anything. Not trained, you see.
Where's the nearest pet shop? There was a pet shop on Forest Way. It was shut for the day. The other shops on the Knacker Parade, the laundrette, the barbers, the bookies, were all boarded up. Long dead. The pet shop was the only one which appeared to be recession-proof. The following day, we got an ID on the victim. He was a homeless guy called Danny, known to bed down under that bridge after a heavy session. His drinking buddies recognised his sleeping bag and tattoos. Terry was making progress too.
Right, canine forensics. Saliva will be washed off. Hairs can be tested, but only by some fella in Texas. Dog bites very hard to identify. You might get the breed, but unlikely you'd pin down a particular dog.
Right, a guy was attacked by a dog last week, a runner, half a mile up the river. We got a phone call off the back of the evening news.
Have you spoke to him?
He's in the hospital.
With injuries from the attack?
Yeah, I spoke to his girlfriend. She said this dog had an unbelievable grip.
I want to show you something.
Terry started fiddling with his phone. He got a YouTube up. A dog was hanging onto a tyre with its teeth. I found it alien, repellent.
Right, this is an American pit bull, purebred. Look at that grip instinct. Bred for bull baiting, you see. You'd know if you had that on your leg.
Excuse me a moment, please.
He is scared of dogs. Come on.
Later that afternoon, the lab got back to me. Cause of death was asphyxia, following puncturing of the throat. A phrase the pathologist used pinged out at me. The bites were all well placed to cause harm.
I've just talked to the guy in the hospital.
And?
He was running along the river path early last Thursday. This dog came out of nowhere. Behind him, got hold of his leg, biting his leg, trying to pull him down, trying to get him on the ground. The guy kicked the dog away, but the dog kept coming back. Every time it came back, the guy kicked it. He reckons he must have injured it.
What kind of dog?
He doesn't know dogs. Brown and black, muscly, medium-sized.
Told you. Bull terrier type.
The dog got called off.
How?
The guy heard someone blowing a whistle. The dog dropped everything and went like a bullet up the bank. He's convinced the dog was sat on him and called off because 2 guys were coming along on bikes, and that's when whoever it was called the dog off.
But the victim saw no one?
No one. He said they must have been able to see him, but he couldn't see them.
How bad are his injuries?
Loads of stitches in his legs. He's had a blood transfusion, and they're monitoring him.
Get his running gear. Don't let anyone wash it.
Okay.
We're off to look for my dogs on Forest Way. Do you fancy it?
I need to get the running gear and match the trainer print.
Are you scared of dogs?
No.
I went to see Price.
So what are you proposing to do with the case I told you not to touch, when you should be concentrating on the Miles Platin shootings, the Timperley brothers, the poor sods at the airport?
I want to run a DNA test on the dog saliva on the clothes the runner was wearing. If we can find the owner of the trainer, if we can link the dog to that owner, we could be looking at murder and attempted murder, which I don't think could be classified as piddling.
That's 2 gigantic ifs.
1 DNA test.
1, and not 1 second of overtime.
OK.
You might lose Terry anyway,
Sorry?
if they enforce A19.
Regulation A19 allows the police authority to make officers retire after 30 years compulsorily to improve efficiency, shed dead wood, save money.
You make or break a dog's personality when it's young. That's why there's so many unstable dogs. They've been spoiled, or they've been abused into using aggression as the first reaction to any situation, or both.
Why do you have a dog, Terry?
Poppy loves me, and I love her.
Poppy needs you to feed her, that's why Poppy wags her tail.
It's love. It's completely honest, you couldn't fake it.
You've trained her to do what you tell her, and that makes you feel in control, which makes you feel good.
You've obviously never had a meaningful relationship with a dog.
He was fishing. They're always fishing. Fish away. Do you reckon that's what's holding me back?
It's Tendy. Do you want to speak here? Why is he pretending he's not scared of dogs?
Answer it, would you? Are you attending?
Nick off and bin the running gear.
Stupid woman.
When were the bins emptied?
4 days ago.
Damn it! Terry and I parked diagonally opposite the pet shop, tucked out of sight behind a skip but with a clear view. The pet shop was open. A guy, the owner, was washing his van outside the shop.
Oh, it's clearly the love of his life.
The pet shop van was sprayed all over with a leopard print pattern. The hubcaps were gleaming chrome. The guy was stripped to his waist, sinewy, polishing like his life depended on it.
Somebody goes to the gym.
Over the course of the next 40 minutes, 7 lads wandered up, most of them were dogs. They'd have a chat with Mr. Sinewy, go inside with him, then come back out again a few minutes later. Some of them headed straight off, some sat on the wall.
Not a pet shop busy, is it?
Nope.
It's drugs busy.
A19 also flushes irreplaceable, experienced officers down the drain. Officers like Terry.
Want me to ring division?
Hang on a sec. Look. A lad was strolling up the street with a dog. The dog was brownish black and trotted along expertly on 3 legs. Its left front leg was bent up into its body, lifted off the ground, bandaged. The Forest Way case was not the biggest we had on the go, not by a long chalk, but it had piqued my interest. And it used up energy I'd otherwise have been spending, along with everyone else at the time, on pointless speculation about the planned cuts. I went to update my boss, looking forward to the tussle, because tussle with my boss meant business as usual, and because I like tussle.
So it's drugs and dogs now?
And possible murder, and possible attempted murder.
Come on. The only thing you've got for sure is a depressed community riddled with status dogs and a drugs racket run from a pet shop. It's bog standard. It's the opposite of major incident.
It didn't used to be bog standard, did it? There didn't used to be so many crazy dogs. There didn't used to be so many attacks. We didn't used to have to see so many. None of that should be accepted as commonplace.
True, but it's not our problem. We've got bigger fish to fry. Miles Platin.
Plugging away at Miles Platin. It was never going to be quick when you've got kids shooting each other because someone looked at someone funny. It's yet another one of them. Gun crime's taken hold so successfully, it feels like we just firefight. Whereas this use of dogs, we should pull out the stops to stunt its growth instead of waiting for it to take hold. The homeless guy killed by a dog was killed efficiently.
No overtime.
No, of course not.
Cut it out. That attitude. Things have to change. You, of all people, should recognise that.
What the hell did that mean? Couldn't get sucked into it. The festival of guessing. Had to keep working. Later that morning, I briefed everyone. So, the guy who owns the dog, which may have killed our victim and may have attacked the runner the previous Thursday, is called Adam Croft. Terry's drawing up an interview strategy. We want to pin down where Adam Croft was the night our victim was killed. We want to get photos of Adam Croft's dog. Spider. To the runner. Who? Is he still in hospital?
Should be home by now.
So Watende's going to show him the photos this morning and see if he thinks it's the dog that attacked him. What's hopeful is he said the dog was brown and black, which Spider is, and he described kicking out at the dog during the attack, and Spider's got an injured leg. Top priority is a search of Adam's home. Terry?
22 Cherry Grove, his nan's house.
We're looking, in particular, for a pair of trainers. Watende?
This is a photo of the left footprint in the blood, and this is the design of sole that's a perfect match. They're free-form trainers, Achilles 147.
If we find those trainers at 22 Cherry Grove, we can put Adam Croft at the murder site. The drugs seized from the pet shop and found on the lads who were trailing in and out of there.
The pet shop boys?
Looks like it's cocaine, possibly methadone, cannabis, TBC. So protecting that may well be the reason for training violent dogs. If that's what's happening, are the dogs legal? Is the pet shop kosher? Is its licence up to date? Are the books dodgy? We're looking for any little crimes that might lead us to bigger ones. Let's get cracking.
We can get Adam Croft running a dangerous dog.
Spider's an illegal breed?
According to Adam, Spider's a Staffy cross, which makes him legal. But that's what you say to cover up owning a pit bull type. Fact is, this dog's a backstreet pick and mix. According to me, he has the characteristics of a pit bull type. That's why the Dangerous Dog Act's so great. Totally open to interpretation.
What? So you say he's dangerous and that's it? He's officially dangerous?
And if a judge says he is. Unless Adam comes up with Kennel Club bump to prove his pedigree, which isn't going to happen. And look at him.
Terry showed me the mugshots of Spider. The camera flash made his eyes glow green.
So, owning a dangerous dog, 6 months and a £5 fine?
Oh, we can do better than that, Terry. I delayed Terry interviewing Adam Croft. I wanted to dig up something we could really rattle him with. A pair of free-form Achilles 147 stuffed in the bottom of his wardrobe would do nicely. A positive ID on Spider from the runner wouldn't be bad either. Adam's phone was a brand new page-ago, nothing on it. Terry did interview Scott Milton that afternoon, our sinewy friend who ran the pet shop. Milton was cool as a cucumber and claimed that the drugs he sold along with fish food and cat litter were legal. As legal as night nurse. Terry asked Milton if he knew methadone had been made illegal. Milton asked Terry if he knew milk came from cows. A couple of hours later, analysis came back on the drugs seized. MDAI, methylone, salvia. All of it legal, if not sold for human consumption. If sold, for example, as pond cleaner. It didn't feel right. I needed help.
Hi, this is Macca. Leave a message if you want, but I'm in Australia till the 12th and won't be using this phone, so may not be worth your while.
It's the 19th now, Macca. So you better change your message and be a bit more encouraging to callers. It's Susie, obviously. I understand that leaving this message may not be worth my while, but I'm looking for some advice, some dinner and possibly some breakfast. Bye.
Boss.
Watende had not only overheard the call, he'd seen me looking very entertained with myself as I hung up.
Sorry.
It's fine. His baffled look said otherwise. I couldn't blame him. He knew me and Macca had a past. A sexual one way back from when Macca was married and I was still in uniform. A professional one which had nearly cost me my job 2 years earlier. Even though the dust had settled, everyone still had Macca down as a bad idea. Everyone assumed all ties between us were cut. I'd let them think that. It's none of their business.
I can't get to the runner. They're moving him to a different ward.
I'll just get in there as soon as they'll let you.
I'll leave you to it.
Hello?
But will it be worth my while?
I think so.
Just sounds like a load of catering to me.
We were sitting up in bed. Macca had his laptop propped up on his knee. He was showing me photos of his daughter. I look at that photo of Melody and Dingo and I just think, what's that beast doing next to that human on the settee? Look at his eyes.
What about them?
The dog eyes, the blank. When I look at you, our eyes meet in knowledge.
You smoking that spliff or are you just trying to look cool?
You cannot have that with a dog.
You can't have it with most humans.
Exactly, so why do people share their lives with inscrutable creatures descended from wolves?
Our eyes do meet in knowledge. And yet you still won't go steady with me.
You don't want to go steady with me.
That's the beauty of the scheme.
I picked Macca's brains about drugs. He takes a scholarly interest in the subject.
No, never heard of a drugs hall which is all above board. Sounds like window dressing.
That's what I keep thinking. The little thing in front of the big thing, the little guys in front of the big guys. Why legalise legal, but methadone isn't?
Well, take MDAI. It's hard to ban it because it was developed as an antidepressant. It's been researched and it's out there. Methadone was never trialled, never tested on people because it was developed as plant food. So the misuse of drugs people said, OK, this is neurotoxic, so it's dangerous, it's highly addictive, so no, not having it. The second they banned methadone, MDAI and all the others popped up. There's a thing in the paper yesterday saying they reckon 41 new legal highs popped up in 2010.
Would you take them?
20 years ago I'd have been all over them. But not now. If I don't grow it, I don't want to know it.
So MDAI isn't neurotoxic?
That's the claim. But what are you mixing it with? What's it doing over time? Is it cardiotoxic? You've got serotonin receptors in your heart as well as your brain. And just because it's legal doesn't mean it's safe.
You know what else you could apply that to? Exactly that.
No.
Dogs. Terry Bird interviewed Adam Croft the following morning. I watched it on the monitor in the video room. Adam Croft was confident, relaxed, friendly. An ideal interviewee, if the interview in question didn't happen to be a police one.
So, you say you were at home all evening?
Yeah, I cook the dinner. I like to help my nan out, so I cook the dinner sometimes. I like cooking from scratch, it's better for you.
Very nice. And what did you cook for dinner on the night of the 17th?
Fajitas.
Nice.
Well, Charlie likes them, my little brother. He likes spicy food. I have to do one not so spicy for my nan. She can't take it.
What does Spider eat?
I give him, like, real proper food, you know. If we have chicken, Spider has chicken. I even give him mixed veg and that. It keeps his coat nice. Will I get him back today?
Not today. What's up with his leg? He's got a bandage on there.
Oh, he stepped on a bit of glass. It went in his foot. They won't kill him, will they?
Who put the dressing on it? You?
No, I took him straight to a vet.
Would you describe Spider as an aggressive dog?
No, he's lively, you know, playful.
So would you be able to give us the address of the vet?
Oh, yeah, defo. When will I get my dog back?
Well, if a judge doesn't deem him dangerous, Spider will go on the IED, Index of Exempted Dogs Register. It has to be chipped, tattooed and muzzled. If he's deemed dangerous, based on appearances and behaviour, not forensics because of confused breeding, he'll be destroyed.
You can't destroy me dog. He's a good dog, I love me dog.
Why do you keep him chained in a yard, then?
Because I'm a little brother. You can't be too careful. Do you remember Chloe Fingy?
Blakiston.
It's terrible.
Terry came out looking older and shorter than when he gone in.
Everything you try just slides off. He's Teflon. What now?
We'll check everything, find a little lie, then we'll have some leverage.
I'm not optimistic. He's clever, really clever.
Pretend he's going to trawl through the pet shop account, see if he can find anything that smells bad.
Is one of us going?
Sorry?
Either Tendy's been given boring stuff because he's about to be slid back to the division, or I'm being given interesting stuff because you feel bad about the fact that I'm about to be slid back. Is that what you're up to?
I'd love to be in the position to be up to something, Terry. That would mean I knew what was coming our way. I haven't a clue.
Not even about yourself?
Particularly not that. The search of 22 Cherry Grove had turned up nothing. I paid a courtesy visit to Adam's nan for a chat. She was immaculate. Marilyn blonde. Her house was immaculate too. We sat in the lounge. She gave me tea in a cup. Gleaming windows. Little dishes of scented pebbles.
Adam's a good boy. No one knows that better than me.
Has he always lived here?
No. Came to live with me when he was 14, 4 years ago. When he's... Charlie, love. Don't be shy, love. Come on in. Nana's talking to a nice lady.
Who is it, Nana?
The child who walked into the room really was a little angel. Ringlets bobbed above his huge brown eyes.
Hello, Charlie.
Hello.
He climbed on Sandra's knee. They gazed lovingly at each other.
Come and sit with Nana.
How old are you, Charlie?
5.
A big boy now. Nana's little angel, aren't you?
We were just talking about your big brother, Adam. Charlie plugged his thumb in his mouth and stared at me, blinking. Does he cook for you sometimes?
What do you like to eat that Adam cooks?
Fajitas.
That's what we had last Thursday. Adam was in all night with us, wasn't he?
You were just saying before, Adam moved in when he's...
Charlie, would you go and get Nana's ciggies in the kitchen and the lighter? Thank you, love. That's my little angel. They moved in when the mother ran off.
Your daughter?
I have nothing to do with her.
Ran off, leaving them behind.
Alone, in the flat. Charlie was in his cot, saturated. She did a bunk with a carpet fitter.
Right.
She's in Blackpool now. It's where all the crap washes up, isn't it?
And the dad?
Strange ways. She's magnetically attracted to wastes of space. The lads are well shot of her. They have no routine, no discipline. I've got them back on track. I'm tough and they love me for it. They know if they cross me, they'll regret it. You got children?
No.
No. Adam's a good boy. Oh, thank you, love. Who's Nana's little angel? Who's Nana's reason for living? Make the fire for Nana. Thank you, love. I do my puffin al fresco. Hate the smell.
I went over to join her at the window.
Do you need a wee-wee, love?
No.
Don't fiddle then, there's a good boy. It's not easy being 18. Not a lot of work about. He was on the scaffolding for a bit. I won't have him lying in bed. He's always got a clean shirt. It's wonderful with Charlie. Takes him every Friday so I can do my fitness class and have a drink. And he looks after that dog impeccably. Adam wouldn't harm a fly and neither would Spider.
We gazed out at the yard, lying on the ground with the mangled remains of a football, a washing up bowl and a child's pedal car.
They'll chew anything, won't they?
Sorry, excuse me. Hi, Terry.
I've just rang the vet. It all checks out. Adam did take Spider. Spider did have some glass in his foot. He did get a couple of stitches. Nothing.
Right, OK. I'm just with Sandra Copley now, Terry.
Enough said. Call me when you're done.
Nana will sort you out.
OK.
What have you
Bye.
got stuff down there, silly boy? Show Nana what you've got.
No.
Do you want a smack?
No.
Show Nana what's in your hand.
No.
You're gonna get a smack then. 1, 2...
Charlie looked at her from under his long eyelashes. He pulled his fist out of his jeans and uncurled his fingers to show her. A dog whistle. I told my boss the Forest Way case was on the brink of becoming clearer. Following that rash pledge, every lead failed us, every hope for break refused to play. I had almost nothing on Adam Croft. What I did have, I reported to my boss and braced myself.
A dog whistle?
Yeah.
Well, should I be impressed?
If Adam Crofts used his dog to kill one man, hospitalise another, and the injured man in question described the dog being called off with a whistle, which we've just found in Adam Croft's place, that is potentially significant.
It's Adam Croft's dog you've got to link to the victims.
I know.
Which you've so far failed to do.
We're 10 days on to it. We've been delayed. As soon as we get to the guy in the hospital and show him the photos, we'll know more. If he says, yes, that's the dog that attacked me, then we have linked Whistle and dog and Adam Croft to that attack.
Yeah, but still nothing to link Adam Croft to the man who was killed. What about the famous trainer print in the blood?
We're still looking for the trainer.
You've got nothing.
A load of drugs which just happened to be legal. Adam Croft playing the curving young man. His spotless nan with a spotless alibi. It's airbrushed. Except little Charlie Croft is clearly agitated every time Adam or Spider is mentioned. And why is Spider confined to the backyard with a load of junk that's been chewed beyond recognition?
This is typical of you. Typically stubborn, expecting to be entitled to resources no one else is.
I don't expect.
I'm obliged to deliver a streamlined package. I lie awake at night trying to work out how I do that, but except I have to, because I understand I'm part of a machine which is subject to forces beyond my control, and unlike you, I don't suffer from monomania.
I suddenly saw how bad he looked. Not just tired and tetchy like we all were, but strung out, battered. It's Watende.
Take it.
Hiya.
I'm at the hospital.
And?
He's dead.
What? When did he die?
Early this morning, he got this bug. The immune system was too weak to fight it. It's insane. He should never have got so sick in here.
Watende, I'm in with the boss just now.
Okay.
You won't be getting an ID on the dog from him, then?
No.
Turn your full attention to the Miles Platin shootings. Something worthy of us.
Okay. Terry was approaching from the other end of the corridor. I noticed his silver head of hair. Noticed the younger heads around him. If GMP enforced A19, all officers who'd served 30 years could be compulsorily retired. Terry'd have to go, but he'd be all right. Mortgage paid, everything under control. Not like Watende. He'd gone into overdrive the last 2 years. Wife, house, baby on the way. They couldn't A19 him. Too young. But they could move him. And people don't always survive that.
It was Adam's first trip to that vet with Spider.
Was it?
And Spider's 2 years old. Poppy's 8 now, but I'd probably taken her to the vet half a dozen times by the time she was 2. So I'm thinking, either he was taking Spider to another vet, which he wasn't happy with. I can't picture that, can you? 18-year-old Ned being so picky. Or he needed the vet to put us off the scent.
The vet removed glass from Spider's foot?
No. The vet stitched up and dressed an injury which Adam told her was caused by glass in the foot.
Well, interesting. But too late. The boss has just pulled the plug on it.
Why?
Well, the short answer is he's in meltdown about the cuts.
My pal in Surrey's just been A19'd. They were off the blocks to enforce it. He's gutted.
I bet.
Says he wishes he'd done what I'd done.
And what did you do?
I piddled about and didn't join up till I was 28.
So Terry couldn't be A19'd. Yet? I saw Watende park up on his way back from the hospital.
Izzy?
When I reached him, he was on the phone.
Izzy, listen. Just say you've changed your mind.
I knew he wouldn't like me seeing him in a state.
No big deal.
I didn't like it either.
What's freaking me out?
I tapped him on the shoulder so he'd know I was there.
What's freaking me out is I can't do it myself.
Sorry.
Izzy, I gotta go. I'll call you back.
That poor guy had blood complications in the first place. And if they routinely killed off mothers and babies, no one would go near the place.
It's fine. I'm fine. I'm jumpy, but I'm fine.
Everyone's jumpy. Relax. No more dogs to panic about anyway. The boss has pulled the plug. No, don't relax. Tell me what's new in Mars Platin. The Forest Way files were carted off to South Reddish. I made them promise to keep me informed. That's monomania for you. It rained for a week non-stop. Weeds and snails took possession of the city. The Forest Way case went cold. Izzy was admitted to hospital with preeclampsia and had to stay there till the birth. Watende flitted between work and the hospital, looking grim. Everywhere I went I saw lads and dogs. The lad walking with that cocky swear, the dog on the chain too short, too tight. Part of me was expecting the worst. Another poor sod chewed to death. 2 weeks later, I got the call. Boss?
Young fella's just proved fatal on Cherry Grove.
What number?
30.
4 doors down from Adam Croft. Cause of death?
Heart attack.
But I thought you said young.
I did 17. No overtime.
Connor Kennedy died of a heart attack aged 17. The coroner's report, issued much later, identified a congenital heart defect, something he might have been untroubled by for years to come had he not decided to dose himself with large and regular hits of methadone. The day after he died, I went to see his mother. Driving along Forest Way, I saw it was business as usual at the pet shop. Lads and dogs hanging out on the pavement, the owner leaning against his trademark van.
Shh, it's all right. Shh. Sorry, don't mind him.
Hello, Kathleen. DCI Craven. The dog was cowering and rolling its eyes away.
Poor wee thing. He doesn't know what's going on. He keeps looking for Connor.
Thank you for letting me come and see you today.
No worries. Come in. Come through.
30 Cherry Grove was exactly the same layout as number 22, where Adam Croft and Sandra and Charlie lived. But it felt so different. The furniture was old, the stair carpet was thin, piles of magazines and DVDs everywhere. But it was a nicer place to be, even the day after a death, than Sandra's gleaming lounge. Kathleen Kennedy looked dried out with shock. Connor's dog sat between us, padding off every few minutes to see if he could find his master.
About 2 years ago, he started taking drugs. Smoking a blow, bit of ecstasy, coke sometimes. I worried about it, when I got wind of it, but to be fair to him, he never seemed out of control. Then 3 months ago, he started on the methadone.
Right.
First I knew of it, the way it just dropped off him. After about a month, it had such a hold on him you would not believe. He was a completely different person. His eyes went right through, He didn't even look like Connor, because his face was all cocked to one side. You could hear his jaw cracking. Have you got children?
No.
Well, you do anything for the sake of your child. But there's nothing you can do with this. It's too powerful. He was taken over. Terrible nosebleeds. Soiling himself. Stinking the place out. I'm sorry, but
please,
I have to say it. Everybody keep their mouths shut round here like it isn't happening.
but it has to be said.
Of course.
He was sweet-natured before. Sweet with his sisters. On the mephedrone, he'd fly off the handle at the slightest thing. And you'd see this look on his face sometimes. Pure panic. And then he'd hold his head and he'd say to me, Mum, I'm so effed up.
Where was he getting it?
Oh, God, it's everywhere.
And how was he getting the money for it?
I used to only give him the money for cigarettes. But he started to take it. Things were going missing.
Did you get the impression he was buying it locally?
God, you don't have to go far. It's on your own doorstep.
She stared out of the window at Cherry Grove. Sandra was walking along the opposite pavement with Charlie in tow. We could see them through the net curtains, but they couldn't see us. Charlie looked at number 30 with worried fascination. Sandra pulled him by the hand and hurried him along. Do you know Sandra, Kathleen?
Oh, yes.
Is she a friend?
She's a neighbour.
So you're not close, then?
We used to be. I used to be very close.
Did you fall out?
Well, you look at this poor wee dog. It has naught to do with himself.
When did you stop being close with Sandra?
I'd like to take him for a walk. I'd like to go now.
OK.
4 years ago.
And she gave me a look which said, work it out. I knew one thing that happened 4 years ago. Sandra had told me. Adam and Charlie's mum did a bunk and abandoned them. Sandra had taken them in. Was it their arrival, Adam's arrival on Cherry Grove, that had soured things? Connor couldn't tell us where he'd got his drugs. Kathleen wouldn't. Sometimes the most help you get is from a dead man's phone.
Okay, Connor's phone. Basically, loads of voicemails from his mum. The other contact that keeps coming up is Spider-Man. But the number keeps changing. Connor keeps resaving different numbers under Spider-Man. And the latest number he saved matches the number we've got for Adam Croft.
Fantastic.
There's only a few texts on here. KG, coded, basically drugs texts. Adam selling, Connor buying, but nothing spelt out. But the most recent text from Spider-Man was 2 days ago, on the Sunday.
The day before Connor died?
Yep, and it's different. It's all in capitals, like a send all text, and it says, get yourselves to the farm Friday night. It's going to be biggest ever.
The farm?
Yeah.
Well, what the hell is the farm?
God knows, but we need to find out and we need to be there without involving any of the people we suspect will be going. If it's what we've been looking for, the centre of what they're really up to, we can't afford to put a foot wrong. Right, we've got 2 days to find the farm. I went to see my boss again, to beg again. He was heaped over a letter. He barely looked up.
They want to know my intentions. What do I intend to do about retiring? Well, I was intending to do my job until I dropped dead or was unfit to do so, which I was led to believe was my due when I joined the force. I was intending to do that. Now I'm intending to grab these people by the throat and ask them what I'm supposed to do when I don't do this, because it isn't something I do to earn money for holidays. I don't like holidays. I don't have hobbies. This is it. I'll ask him if they're intending to stump up the booper when I'm dribbling in a psychiatric unit because I don't know who I am.
A19's not definite, is it?
No, this is the final phase of consultation, otherwise known as shafting you slowly. What do you want? Time, money?
Well...
Have it, do it, whatever it is. To hell with them.
I wanted to give him something, but I couldn't think what, so I left.
There's 3 nightclubs called The Farm in the Manchester area. One's got a 70s night on Friday, one's booked for a Cypriot wedding, and the other's shut for refurbishment.
There's a recording studio called The Farm.
What if it's a code name for something else, where animals are, like the pet shop?
The pet shop's tiny. The text said biggest ever. Could be a rave.
Could be a dogfight. There's farms within striking distance of the city across 4 counties. It's a non-starter.
No, we don't stand open hell if we do that. We have to go back into what we've already got and what we already know our way around and see if there's anything there. While Watende and Terry sat poring over everything we had, I got in touch with firearms and tactical aid in case we needed them. Tried to do a risk assessment based on various hypothetical kinds of places the farm might be. I don't recommend it. It was 10:20 on Thursday night. I wondered who'd be the first to crack.
Oh, I'm not even thinking straight now. I'm that frazzled I could actually miss something right in front of my nose now.
Have a coffee.
I've had 7.
Have a tea.
Hello?
This is not productive. We should get some sleep and eat it fresh tomorrow.
Okay, 20 minutes. Izzy's in labour. I'm going. I'm gone.
Right, this was always ridiculous, and now it's impossible.
You take half, I'll take half.
Well and truly dumped on from a great height.
Were you there when your kids were born?
Was I? Heck. I said to her, once the baby's hosed down and you've got some lippy on, I'll be delighted to make an appearance.
Did she mind?
No, she kept her dignity, didn't she? Can I ask you something personal?
If it keeps you working.
You know Mackie?
I do.
Tandy said, are you too, like, an item?
Not really.
Well, you either are or you aren't.
Sometimes we are.
And how the hell does that work?
It just seems to, Terry.
So is it a regular thing, or...?
It's what I call regular irregular.
What, so it's like no strings?
OK, that's enough.
Never works. People need strings.
Shush.
So?
I mean it.
I've got an invoice here for 40 units of cat litter from a pet supply company called Lovely Pet. Registered address, The Farm, Denshaw.
Brilliant. Let's see if there's anything on the system. The Farm, Denshaw, was one of the 3 properties owned by Tony Lowe. When I kept banging on about the big thing, I thought must be behind the little thing. I'd never imagined it would be as big as Tony Lowe. Now I did have something to give to the boss. The Forest Way case has started off being about dogs. A homeless man had been mauled to death on the banks of the River Mersey. The lad I suspected had trained his dog to kill, Adam Croft, turned out to be dealing drugs. One of his faithful customers had died. The dead lad's phone had led us to a place owned by Tony Lowe. Tony Lowe had his fingers in tacky pies all over Manchester. He made money wherever he turned his hand, and in spite of the world he moved in, kept himself miraculously clean. A text from the dead man's phone promised something big, the biggest ever, at a place called The Farm on Friday. The farm belonged to Tony Lowe. When I told the boss, he cracked the first smile I'd seen from him in weeks. He'd been after Tony Lowe for years. He described him as the £11 pike at the bottom of the lake you knew was there but could never land, and the pike knew you knew too. We didn't say it, but we both understood that if we got Tony Lowe before the boss was compulsorily retired, it might, well, save him. This, combined with the favour we'd be doing the public if he put Tony Lowe out of business, made the boss more generous with resources. Hi, Watende.
Boss, they want to keep Izzy in hospital. Her blood pressure's all over the place because of the preeclampsia. I'm just waiting around here, no use to anyone. Listen, I was thinking, is there any way I can defer paternity leave?
You want to come back to work?
Yeah.
Sure you're up to it?
Yeah.
Leave it with me. It was Friday night, and we were driving out to the farm, hoping we weren't too late to raid whatever it was. We had backup. The farm was up a long dirt track. At the end of the track, there were security gates. We were expecting that. What we weren't expecting was they'd be open. We drove in. The lights in the farmhouse were on. The front door was open. 4 or 5 outhouses fanned out from the house, forming a rough circle around a parking area. Security lights snapped on as soon as the car wheels hit the tarmac. There were no other cars. Nothing happened. Nothing stirred. Well, not quite nothing. A case of budgies squawked into life, raising the alarm. except there was no one to hear it.
It looks like the party's legged it.
Let's start with the house. The room was smoky, beer bottles were half full.
I'll check upstairs.
Drugs, paraphernalia, files, pipes were scattered about. Jackets had been abandoned.
Somebody got tipped off them.
It's a bit low rent for Tony now, isn't it? Where's the sunken pool and the naked ladies?
There's other places to live here. Hang out for his guard dogs by the looks of things.
Bloody hell.
Terry had pulled a building society book from a jacket pocket.
Guess how much Adam Crofty's worth?
How much?
£17,000, that little gobshite.
Nothing upstairs. A couple of beds messed up.
Once we knew the place was deserted, we had to split up.
Terry, get in your car, join the search, see if you can pick up a trail. You know what you're looking for. Pretender, you stay with me.
Okay.
I could do with Tendy.
Pretender you're scared of dogs. There are no dogs here. If there were here, someone's driven them away. And if you catch up with them, you could have a lot of dogs on your hands. And Pretender is not the best officer to have with you. OK, look, take Paddy. Go on, go.
We set to work investigating the outhouses. The one nearest the house was being used as a storeroom. Our torches shone on row upon row of cardboard boxes, imported goods from China. We knew what we hoped we'd find, and we weren't disappointed.
Boss.
Tucked in the boxes, laid flat among the stacks of nappies, toys, books, you name it, were flat packets of powder. Some white, some brownish.
Good. Let's get inside the other buildings.
The second outhouse wasn't secured. It was damp and musty. Pretender found a light. One wall was divided into 4 small stalls. They stood empty. There were dog dishes in them, chewed up logs and bits of junk.
OK. So this is Drug HQ and Dog HQ. Looks like the big puppies here too.
Yeah.
Watende was stirring into one of the stalls. He looked like he might throw up.
Boss.
It's OK. This place is dead. I've been crashing around undisturbed, so I doubt there's anybody around.
Yeah, I know.
I had to say that in front of Terry.
You knew anyway. It was stupid to keep pretending.
It's not a big deal.
Seeing what these animals can do is... You can't even recognise, you know. What was that?
A trainer. And we looked at this chewed up bit of rubber and nylon lying there, and we both thought, please God, be a free-form Achilles 147.
Is it the one? Can you tell?
It's too mangled.
Bag it up. Aye, Terry.
Just found the pet shop van in a lay-by.
Have you searched it?
Nothing. It's been full of dogs. It's a mess. Engine's still warm.
OK, so whoever was in it's either got in another car or is on foot.
Yeah, you wouldn't get very far on foot. We're in the middle of nowhere.
Well, you'd be a lot less conspicuous than driving around in a van with leopard print sprayed all over it.
We'll keep looking.
There's a door here at the back.
The first thing that hit me was the smell of blood.
Find the light.
With 10 days torch beam swung round the place. We glimpsed metal bars. Some huge form slumped.
What the hell is that?
Here it is.
Jesus.
There was a caged pit. The floor of the pit was covered in sawdust. The sawdust was blooded, clumped in dark patches. In the middle lay this great blooded heap of animal chained to the wall.
Is it a cow?
I crouched down to get a better look through the bars. It's a bull.
Is it dead?
Watende. It's the outer dead. It was in the door like a missile, a white bull terrier. It jumped up at me, my arm shot up to shield my face. Watende got between me and the dog. The dog dropped his grip and spun to see where the sound came from. A kid stood in the doorway, blowing on a whistle with all his might.
Get out! Get out! Get out! Get out! Get out! Bolt it! Bolt it! Bolt it!
Charlie sat in the back of the car, sucking his thumb. I could see him in the mirror, his huge eyes blank and blinking.
Your Nana knows you're on your way home, Charlie. We're taking you home to Nana now.
Is Adam at home?
I don't expect he will be, no.
I don't want Adam.
No.
I want Nana.
Of course you do.
Shall I climb in the back with you, Charlie? I'll climb in the back. I've got a little boy, you know.
Have you got a dog?
No.
Don't get one.
My boss was all over everything the next day, panting for Tony Lau.
There's still no sign of Adam Croft?
No. Adam Croft and Scott Milton, the guy who runs a pet shop, have both managed to vanish. Terry found Scott Milton's van abandoned last night, so if they're together, they're relying on someone else to get them around, or have relied on someone else to get them somewhere safe. No sign of life at the pet shop. The RSPCA is helping, picking up assaulted dump dogs and puppies in the Denshire area.
Good. Drugs unit were quietly impressed.
Wow, methadone, MDMA, NDAI, cocaine, heroin, skunk, something for everyone. Such a load of methadone, they said they reckon it was stockpiled before it was made illegal, because there was basically 5 months when everyone knew that that was on the cards. A kilo of methadone from China is 1,600 quid. Bulk it out with glucose, sell it for 20 times that. Nice profit for Tony Lowe.
We need to find him. We need to find Tony Lowe soon.
I know.
He's not in town, apparently. Typically, no one's being very chatty.
The only person I've got to talk to is a traumatised 5-year-old.
Well, if you think you might know anything about Tony Lowe, he'll do.
Sandra, Charlie's grandmother, after much persuasion, agreed to let us talk to Charlie at home for no longer than 20 minutes. I took Watende with me. In Sandra's spotless lounge, Charlie sat on his nana's lap and stared at us through his ringlets, stared at the dressing on my arm. The first thing I wanted to say to you, Charlie, is thank you. You know what you did last night?
No.
You saved our lives. I really think you did.
Is the white dog dead?
Yes.
Is Spider dead?
Spider's going to be destroyed. Yes.
Is Adam coming home?
No. Do you think Adam will be sad about Spider?
Adam plays with lots of dogs.
Does he?
He teaches dogs to fight. First Spider, then all the dogs.
Where did you get the whistle from, Charlie?
Adam, he's always got some whistles.
What the hell were they doing? Bull baiting. Used to be legal. Was popular along with bear baiting and cockfighting and dogfighting and other sports we had the sense to ban in the 1800s. Did you know where Charlie was last night, Sandra?
Of course I didn't. He always has him on a Friday. I have my exercise class and a drink after.
Do you know where Adam is?
No. He's taken this little angel out into the middle of nowhere. He's exposed him to God knows what, and then he's left him there. Left this little angel on his own, abandoned. An animal.
Why did you let Adam keep a dog like Spider?
He can do what he likes with his dog.
What? Deliberately train it to fight?
Hey, I knew nothing about that. Are you accusing me? I let you come here and talk to this traumatised child to help you with your inquiries, and you come here and you sit there and you accuse me.
Thank you very much for letting us speak to Charlie. The last thing we wish to do is accuse you. We're very grateful for your help. I gave Watende a look he'd seen often enough to interpret correctly.
Thank you, Sandra. I'm sorry if I caused offence. It wasn't my intention. I'm just very sensitive about dogs.
Shall I drop you back at the hospital?
Yes, please.
What are you going to call him?
Perfect.
Perfect Robinson.
Perfect Adiemo Robinson.
Capture?
They're merging Izzy's job with another woman's because of cuts.
So, she's got no job to go back to.
If she gets her job back at all, it'll be this full-on merged one, and we'd have to pay some stranger to look after the baby, and this sounds arrogant, but that person just won't, they just...
Do it as well.
Nauseous, all these pills I'm off it. Cautious, cautious, with my heart be cautious. Yeah, swear I don't do this often. Don't take my love and leave me in a coffin.
You would?
Yeah.
So, what are you saying? Is that what you want to do?
I've not been enjoying work.
I noticed.
All the scaremongering, feeling you're constantly being sized up. Is he expendable? It doesn't even matter if that's what's actually going on or not. It's enough that everyone feels like it is.
I know. And some people go into battle, and some wilt in the corner, and some people, me, pretend it's not happening.
I went into self-protection. I told myself the baby's the big thing. Work's just work. And then last night threw everything back into focus.
Because he was born?
Yeah, but more what happened at the farm. I stepped up.
You did. However, you just nearly blew it with Sandra. We need her.
I'm sorry. I just couldn't believe she was taking no responsibility.
She can't. So she's fixing on what Adam's done. Fixing on just one bit of what he's done, to be precise. He's up to his eyes in drugs and gambling and cruelty and violence and murder, possibly. But his only crime in her eyes is that he didn't look after Charlie.
It's like when people talk about the budget.
How is it possibly like that?
If they're smokers, they moan about cigarettes going up. If they drive a lot, they moan about petrol going up. The bit that hits their wallet is an injustice and the rest of it's fine. What? What have I said?
I'll be 1 minute. I went back to Sandra's front door and rang the bell. Sandra half opened it, scowling. Hi again. Sorry, I forgot to mention something. We found a building society book belonging to Adam. Did you know he had an account?
No.
Oh, right. Well, he has. Anyway, his balance is currently showing at £17,000 and 68 pence. Astonishment is the hardest reaction to fake. I've seen a lot of people try. They do too little, usually, scared of giving themselves away. Sandra's face turned inside out with astonishment.
You are kidding. Are you kidding?
No. I'd be happy to show it you. The book. She checked my face to see if I was faking. Reckoned I wasn't, then I could see her mind spinning, totting up all the thousands of ways she supported Adam, shelled out for Adam, fed and clothed Adam, scrimped on herself for Adam, while he'd been sitting on his own personal pot of cash. 2 nails in his coffin. So, if you hear anything about Adam's whereabouts, would you let me know?
Yeah.
In some ways, the Forest Way case was shaping up. We knew there was a culture of dangerous dogs. We knew Adam Croft was at its centre. We knew Adam Croft dealt drugs. The thing I've been itching to prove from the start, that he used his dog to murder, still no proof. More depressing, Adam Croft had vanished. Pretend he went off to Blackpool in search of Adam's mum. She'd abandoned him and his little brother Charlie 4 years earlier, leaving her own mum, Sandra, to pick up the pieces. Hi, Watende.
I found her. Makes Sandra look like Joanna Numley. She says she hasn't seen Adam and Charlie since the day she left, or Sandra.
Do you believe her?
I did, yeah. She's very uncompromising.
What's the setup now, then?
She's got twins and she's pregnant. She's still with a carpet fitter.
Oh, amazing. Wipe the slate, start again, don't look back. OK, well, grab me a jar of those sweets that look like pebbles and get back here. 5 days later, we had a break. Scott Milton was picked up, off his head, wandering around Piccadilly Gardens. Even in black and white on the monitor, I could see the change in him. His face was cocked to one side. His bony knees jigged up and down. He was having an horrible come down off something. I hope Terry will play him wisely.
On the 4th. Are you feeling okay?
Freezing.
Do you want a blanket, mate?
Yeah.
A blanket was fetched for him. Yet more coffee.
Scott, have you ever been to a place called The Farm?
You know I have, so yeah.
Would that be a regular thing going out there?
Regular, yeah.
To do what?
Dog nights.
And what would happen on dog nights?
You put money on the dogs.
How does that work exactly?
You put them in a pit, fight to kill, killer wins.
And you win money if you back the killer?
Can you help me, please?
Just a few questions. We know The Farm is owned by Tony Lowe.
Never met him. Mr. Invisible.
You sure?
God's honest.
Okay. So, who would organise these dog nights?
Adam Croft.
We know Adam was there last Friday at The Farm, and you were there, and we know you all got out of there pretty fast, and we believe you abandoned your van a couple of miles down the road.
I never got in my van.
Who drove your van?
I was on the toilet. I was sitting on the toilet, and then it kicks off downstairs. Out now, the cops are coming.
Who tipped him off?
The kid at the crossroads.
How can we, mister?
The track's at the back and the next farm's empty. You don't need the road.
Right. So, you're in the toilet and it kicks off downstairs?
Everyone's shouting and I'm trying to get off the can and sort my trousers out and then I get out front and he's driving off in my van.
Adam didn't wait for you?
Wait for me. Wait for his mate. Adam. Happy to catch a lift off me out there, you know. Happy to take, very, very happy to take. Happy to sell and all. Very happy to sell. Just ask Connor Kennedy.
I can't ask Connor Kennedy.
Connor's me mate.
Connor Kennedy's dead.
I wish I was. I wish I'd just hurry up and get there, you know.
Where did Charlie go?
Adam's little brother. He went with him, didn't he?
Adam left him behind, hiding in a barn.
That's Adam for you.
Terry put some trainers on the table.
Scott, have you ever seen a pair of these before?
Scott lifted his head and stared at them.
If you hadn't took my phone off me, I could show you.
Show me.
Pictures.
Pictures of someone wearing a pair of these on your phone?
Adam.
Okay, we'll have a look.
Did he leave a footprint?
Where?
By the wino, by the river.
Which one?
Set Spider on a guy jogging, but he got disturbed. Then he pulls it off on the wino when he leaves a print. He knew he had dick.
You saying Adam Croft set his dog on people with the intent to kill?
That is exactly what I'm saying.
Why?
Practice.
Practice for what?
The dog nights. He made a lot of money out of Spider, and when Spider got took off him, he tried to make money off this mad shit with a bull.
Scott was as good as his word. 6 pictures on his phone of Adam, posing with dogs, on his feet, a pair of free-form Achilles 147s. I went to tell my boss. Not talking about 6 months for owning a dangerous dog. Not talking about 14 years for dealing drugs. Talking about the rest of Adam Croft's life inside.
And Scott Milton's got no idea what Adam Croft is.
No, and he hates him. I think he'd tell us like a shot if he knew he'd get his sentence down for one thing.
And nothing on Tony Lau.
Nothing.
He's in Australia.
Oh, God, is he?
He's been there for 3 months. Been having impossible to implicate him long distance without someone telling tales on him.
Well, they may. Later.
Too late for me.
You don't know they'll retire. See, I heard if more than 9% of officers asked say their intention is to retire voluntarily after 30 years, they won't enforce A19. It's about being able to predict the cost of wages and pensions, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I heard they're sizing up the retirables, and if they identify a star achiever in his field, they miraculously waive A19. But if they think you're basically competent but wouldn't be missed, it's A19 all the way. I know which category I fall into.
After work, I went over to Watende's house. After that, I was bursting with a dare. So I...
Hiya.
Mad day.
Yeah? You're working that sling very stylishly.
Just met Watende's baby. Anthony AUDIOBOOK Robinson.
And how is he?
Perfect. It's just gleaming new. I don't know how people do it. Such a mangled world. It's mad to have a baby. And I looked at this little thing and I thought, I'm so glad people do it though. And then I thought, bam! I'm never going to do it. Don't want to, ever anyway. Have a baby.
Could have told you that 20 years ago.
Could you?
Yeah.
Something in my body tells me that I have to stop loving you. 'Cause I don't need you now. When you leave me in the past, that's not forgiveness. I don't need you now. Y tú sabes, si me miras en la calle no me hables, y tú sabes, hey. There's no way, no. Y tú sabes, si me miras en la calle no me hables, no. Y tú sabes, hey. There's no way, no. Something in my body tells me that I have to stop loving you. 'Cause I don't need you now. When you leave me in the past, that's not forgiveness. I don't need you now.
start crying.
I'm not sure. You look well groomed.
I'm going out in a bit.
Oh, as in? Oh, well, I'll have a good time.
Well, I'm not going for 20 minutes. Come in.
No, you're all right. You look good. Have fun.
Susie, do you want more from me? Just say so.
We're fine as we are. Driving away, I thought, no strings never works. People need strings. I nearly went back to Macca's to say, let's do this properly. Then I realised I was being influenced by the fridge magnet wisdom of Terry Bird. So I drove home and had a bath and went to bed. Connor Kennedy's funeral was on the Thursday. His mother, Kathleen, spoke afterwards. She said life without Connor was only possible to bear because of family and friends. I looked over to where family and friends were sat. I couldn't believe my eyes. Sandra. Did you see him after? Clinging on to each other like sisters?
They must have buried the hatchet.
Kathleen fell out with Sandra when Adam started selling Connor drugs. They're hardly going to make up now Connor's effectively been killed by drugs. If anything, you'd sharpen the hatchet.
Only if Sandra was still on Adam's side, but she's not. Sandra washed the hands of him.
Well, what about all those years when Sandra turned a blind eye? Would you forgive that? If the boot were on the other foot, Sandra wouldn't. She's a punisher. That's why I thought she'd shop Adam.
Maybe she genuinely doesn't know where he is. It's Terry.
Stick it on speaker. Hi, Terry.
10 dogs destroyed because they were unlucky enough to be owned by scumbags. Noble dogs turn into monsters by idiots. It's no wonder people are petrified. No wonder Tendy's such a wuss.
Tendy's listening.
Hello, Terry.
Hiya.
Nothing wussy about what he did to that bulldog with a fire extinguisher. It's one thing for Tony Lowe to make himself invisible. He's powerful and rich. Adam Croft is an 18-year-old with 17 grand in the bank, admittedly. But that hadn't been touched. His phone hadn't been touched. No online presence. To vanish like that, you need friends. And he'd shafted everyone he'd ever come across. His gran, his mate, his baby brother, even his dog. What struck me as increasingly likely, as time passed, was that Adam Croft was dead. He'd had enough enemies. Would Tony Lowe have got someone to do it? Seemed overkill for someone so low down Tony Lowe's food chain. It was arranged that Watende would conduct the interview. We planned it carefully. We agreed he would pedal very, very soft.
There's been no trace of Adam now for 5 weeks. We're getting quite concerned about that. You must be getting concerned about that too. Are you concerned about Adam? Sandra?
Yeah, I am.
Do you know where he is?
No.
Have you seen or heard from him since the night we got Charlie back to you from the farm?
I've told you already. No.
Sure. It's just sometimes people forget and remember later. Especially when they've been very shaken up, which you were, understandably, after what Charlie was put through.
I was beside myself. He's my world.
He's lucky to have a granny like you to protect him. Sometimes people protect people they care about even when they've done something bad. Adam's committed some very serious crimes, Sandra. He needs to face the consequences. If someone's protecting Adam, that person's preventing Adam being brought to justice, and that's a crime in itself.
I'm not protecting Adam.
Okay. It's just something we see a lot in close families. It's a natural instinct, and we can be accommodating if it doesn't go on too long. But if someone persists in deliberately obstructing us, they can end up in prison themselves, which obviously has a massive impact on them and any dependents.
He didn't need to say Charlie's name. It hung in the air. Sandra knew it, and she knew how to save herself.
I wouldn't protect Adam if he was hanging off a cliff.
Okay. So if you heard something, you let us know.
Gladly. String him up.
Now, one other possible reason for Adam's disappearance, certainly something we can't rule out, is that he's dead. I wasn't going to mention this, actually, in case it upset you, but you seem to have some perspective on Adam, so is this okay for you?
Yeah.
Okay. So, if he's dead, he might have died accidentally, or someone might have killed him. If that's the case, we're going to have to look at anybody Adam had crossed, or cheated, or ripped off, or upset, or exploited, or hurt, or maybe even all of those things.
Right.
Watende's trademark eye contact was back in force.
He's a big lad, so maybe it was a couple of people who did it, who both had an axe to grind, friends.
He didn't need to say Kathleen's name. It was hanging in the air.
Anyway, unless a body turns up, it's academic. My boss's hunch is he's at the bottom of the River Mersey, but shouldn't speculate. As I say, you just need to start considering people with a strong motive.
Adam rang me.
When was that?
A few weeks ago, I'm not sure.
Where was he?
In a phone box. I don't know where.
What was he saying?
He wanted to say sorry and he wanted to say goodbye.
Goodbye?
He said he was on the run and I wouldn't be hearing from him again.
Did he say where he was heading?
Scotland.
Did he phone you on your home phone?
Yeah.
Okay, remind me of that number, please.
Sorry, no. Mobile.
Okay, we've got that number.
I've not got that phone anymore.
Oh.
I lost it. I got a new one.
Okay, not a problem. You should have told us about this call at the time.
I know.
Why didn't you?
He's my grandson. I know he's done some terrible things. Terrible things. I know that. But he had a lot of issues when he was growing up. A lot of issues, and at the end of the day, deep down, he was a good lad.
Past tense. Sandra was top dog in a pack of hardliners. A family trained to be callous, trained to fight. Kathleen was made of softer stuff, but people aren't rational when it comes to children. I'd learnt that. The last thing the boss did before they retired him was give the go-ahead to dredge the River Mersey. Adam Croft's body was deep in the sludge, weighed down. His hands were tied with Sandra's belt. His ankles were tied with Connor Kennedy's dog lead. Terry Bird nicknamed it the Mothers Union murder. The guessing ended round about that time. The cuts finally kicked in. It's grim, but it's not no man's land. More work than ever, but that's fine by me. I've lost Macca to a fitness instructor. One good thing, Tony Lowe's back in town.
In Craven by Amelia Bullmore, Sue Craven was played by Maxine Peake, Terry Bird by David Crellin, Watende Robinson by Michael Obiora, Price was James Quinn, Macca Jack Deem, Sandra Lisa Millett,